What were your thoughts on just being able to upgrade in terms of speed and length and the things that you guys really needed?
It's like upgrade. I think it's more just about the measurable traits, right? Like we wanted to go after measurable traits, and to be a developmental program and to project, um, you know, guys that will have positive contributions to the program. The more that you can look at and say, here are the speed numbers, here's the length. This is why we think the growth is coming, and I think we feel really good about this class from that perspective. We think we have measurable speed in the class. Obviously, we've gotten longer, and I think that's a great start as a foundational class for the program.
In early November, you guys backed off their commitments, and yet you guys rallied and seem to have done well for yourselves. How were you guys able to flip that moment?
Well, we have the makings of something special here, and it's just not going to be for everybody, and that's okay. I mean, you have to be a visionary, you have to be a builder. We want competitive people to understand that the work ahead is critical, and we got a lot of ground to cover yet. And today's certainly a day of celebration, and it's a great day for our future as a program, and yet it's about our effort and getting the guys in this class ready to play next fall, and then growing them through the course of their career here. But we knew all along that it wasn't necessarily going to be for everyone, and I think ultimately what was important to us was that we had the measurable physical traits and then the mindset of a builder, and we had guys that were going to come in here and lock arms and believe in their hearts that they were going to be responsible for being the difference. We wanted that level of competitive mindset, that level of confidence. And I think that, obviously we found that in this group. And the more people spend time around our program, the more people spend time around our team, they recognize the energy and the growth that's happening. It's kind of bubbling from within. And so through the close of this early signing period, we were able to get guys in-house, get them around our staff, get them around our players. And ultimately, the players become the most important parts in recruiting forward. And so, was pleased with how we rallied, and was pleased with how we finished. And I think that's something that we need to now build into the 23 class, right? It's the never-ending machine here, but we're definitely excited.
To your close, past classes here that you've lost players. You scrambled the last week to find kids who were projects, guys that we don't know who they are. This class, you lose some kids, and you go pick off some guys that were committed to schools that have had more recent success. That's not something that staffs have done here. How were you guys able to do that?
We've said from the beginning that especially early on, I think, to recognize that we're still in the infancy here, we're still in the early part of this build. We understand that our ability to go out and identify players that can have impact in the SEC, play at a high level in this conference, that we're doing our job best when in the end of the cycle, we're having to fight for the players that we've recruited. And to me, that it becomes inherent or important that we lead with relationships, that ultimately we lead with connection to vision. That those things are things that keep, again, the foundation of a class solid. And I was really pleased with our ability to weather, the outside interest in our class, right? Like that was a real, threat that we faced, and we had a group of guys that had bought in and believed in what we're building, and they want to be a part of it. And so, to keep this class intact through the end to the signing date today was a fight, and it was a fun fight, and it gets all of us excited about what's possible. And then to build upon the class late in the finish, again, I think speaks to what's possible here. We're not going to sit back in the corner and apologize for being Vanderbilt. This is about us going and rolling our sleeves up and fighting for this program every single day. But in the end, there's only one in the country that's a top 15 school that's stitched in the middle of Nashville and that's playing in the football, in our opinion, the only conference that matters, the SEC, and that's here in Nashville. It's a Vanderbilt. And so we're not going to apologize for that. We're going to we're going to go out there and recruit to it and find the guys that can help us build this into what we know it can be.
Along those lines, could you talk us through the process of keeping Darren Agu committed and having him sign today, and then how significant it is to win a head-to-head battle against Tennessee?
Well, again, Darren's a guy that saw early the possibilities here at Vanderbilt. We were able to pry him away from a competitor early in the process, and again, I think Javon Hay did a great job building a relationship there and getting him connected to vision. And we knew that he was a player that was going to draw a lot of interest, right? He's just he's a guy with a tremendous upside that already has measurable skill. In the end, we knew that we were going to be one of many suitors, and I think that ultimately for Darren, it was about connection to vision. It was about belief in what's possible here. It was about getting back on this campus and recognizing all the good that exists here at Vanderbilt. And it was for us, we think that's one that we're going to be really excited about. A win late that is going to have a ripple effect for us over time. We're excited to watch him develop as we are the rest of the class.
How much did Barton Simmons mean to your recruiting effort, and can you give me some specific stories or instances where he really adds value to what you do?
Well, listen, he's Barton's smart, and I think above anything else, he has an incredible ability to sift through and find the most important problems, the most important things, and have impact that way. He's an outside the box thinker. I wish that he were more fun here. I feel like he's just so serious all the time now, and I miss that on-camera persona that he used to. I'm just kidding. No, he's an incredible addition. I think what he does is he runs and orchestrates both the scouting element and the recruiting element. And so there's kind of two parts to that, right? There's talent evaluation, talent acquisition, and that becomes the lifeblood of a successful program. I think what our responsibility here as coaches and as support staff is to deliver an experience that retains the team, right? And so there's recruiting inherent in that too, but Barton's lead in that general manager role has taken some time to get some footing. I think he would admit that he's learning and growing this is his first time through this. There is a lot, and I think particularly when you start talking about not just his role, but also has his role, how it interconnects with admissions, how it interconnects with our campus. All those things combine to make it a pretty dynamic experience. And what's exciting to me is continued growth, continued comfortability in the role. I think will even enhance and push results further. But Barton is a very valued member of the operation. I think he is, obviously he's a dear friend, but more than that, he's an expert, and he brings that expertise every day. He has a willingness to see things differently. And here at Vanderbilt, I think taking a different approach is part of the foundational principles that's going to drive us to our potential. So I think Barton's done a great job, as well as the staff, as well as our coaching staff, combining in a team effort to build a first class here that we're really, really excited about.
As a defensive guy, what stands out to you about that side of the ball in this class, and what were kind of your top priorities there? How do you feel you've got all the bases covered?
Well, we were looking for length and range. We feel like we were able to hit on that. We also wanted to make sure, and I think at all positions, not just on defense, the mindset of the players that we were bringing in was another evaluation point for us. We wanted guys that came from good programs, that winning was important to them. That they saw the potential for a great winning program here at Vanderbilt, and they want to come help build that with us. But the biggest thing is we wanted to get fast and long, and I think on the whole, we were able to do that. and then also add some pieces there that I think bolster the character of the team that we have returning. I mean, we have a bunch of the guys returning that we're so excited about. They've already begun the work for Team 2, which is fantastic. You know, they were training last week as a team, and this week is discretionary because of finals. But these guys are so hungry here, and so now what you do is you bring in a group that we feel like can be led by the guys that are returning, who already know the expectations, the standards. And this group, as a young group coming in, can quickly be brought up to speed because we have great leadership that exists here in the program currently.
You know, how important is development going to be for some of these guys, especially some of the ones that haven't been playing football for as long?
Well, I mean, it's the projection is where we feel like, that this class is undervalued because it's going to grow exponentially through effort here, right? We feel like that's not a statement towards anyone who rates recruiting classes. We just feel like, again, the measurable physical traits are there, and so we think that as we build out frames, as we build out experience, as we get repetition, we build skill into these players, that over time you're going to see this class become a force in the conference. And so certainly, being developmental is a part of our formula. Projecting forward is a part of our formula, but this isn't like playing the lottery. This is about pinpointing skills that we know can be developed, and starting with that raw material and then dropping it into our systems of development to produce a team that competes and wins at the highest level.
As you evaluate players, how much are you, I guess, quote unquote, recruiting the system? Like, how much is fitting within what you guys do schematically a part of this?
Very, very little, truthfully. I mean, we want to look for the most dynamic playmakers we can find, and it's always been my mind that we'll adjust and adapt to the guys that are the best players. And so I think a good coach kind of sees where the strengths are in the team and plays to those strengths. Obviously, there are certain fundamental things that get us excited about certain players, but if you find an outlier out there that's really special, you don't want to keep yourself in that. I think you want to have an open mind to it, an outside the box mindset to say, you know what, they may not be able to do that, but they can do this really well. How can we adjust and adapt to fit that strength within our personality?
3 international guys, and I know you can only talk about 2 of them right now, but how viable of an option or a trend is that going to be going forward for you guys, and what advantages you guys have both as a football program and university for international prospects? How can that be a useful avenue for you guys?
Well, I think Barton had in his mind that by recruiting international students, he was going to travel internationally. And so I think he's a little disappointed to realize his responsibilities here on campus. I think football is growing in popularity. I think it's growing, our football is growing in Canada, and it's growing overseas. And this is not new this season. I think this is something that's a trend, and it opens up possibilities, and we have to be willing to explore those possibilities to find the best players and the best players that fit our system. I think the kids, particularly Linus and Darren from Raven Gap, are guys that just fit our profile. They're developmental. Again, they haven't had long careers in football, so we feel like through our systems of teaching and training, that their best football is ahead of them, which is awesome. They have backgrounds in different sports, which again to me is this infusion of like base fundamental athleticism that's exciting. And so we want to keep an open mind to it, and that doesn't mean obviously that we're trying to somehow like set a trend. We're just trying to find the best players that we can find that help fit a profile that can be developed here, and we think that those guys certainly are that. As far as Vanderbilt goes, this is a campus that houses a number of international students, and it has a worldwide impact as far as brand goes. And so I do think we have an advantage there. I do think that these kids are coming to the United States looking for a great education, and they travel here because football is so important to them. And that is a great starting point, right, for Vanderbilt to build, because, as great as our education is, football is important. This is a football program in the SEC, and this is a team that wants to win at a high level in the SEC. And so to have guys coming in that have traveled across the ocean to find a football experience is a great starting point, a great foundation for a team that cares a lot about football.
How important was Georgia to you, and to what you credit the success that you guys had down there this year?
Well, we think that Georgia is a great state for us. It has been, historically. I think, when you draw a 5-hour radius around our campus, you recognize that there's just a lot of good football talent in that 5-hour radius, and Georgia's a part of that. We have, obviously, Norval McKenzie's been influential there, and so is Jesse Minner, who spent time down there too as a coach. There's also this element of, and this is what's fun about like compounding results in recruiting is you start to see the impact that your recruits can have, like the ripple effect they can have, that it becomes like Vanderbilt's like, this is an exciting time for this program, and it's a great place to be, and serious football players are looking at this saying, I want to be a part of this. We got a blank canvas there, and we're going to build this thing together. And that message from me is expected, but it's powerful. That message from a recruit's peers, I think, is doubly impactful. And so in all of our efforts, in all of the areas that we're going to go recruit, the experience that exists here, both in the recruiting process and then as a player, is going to compound our results in recruiting. It's going to open up more opportunities to bring more people in from those areas. And we're excited about what Georgia can be for us. I think it's, again, it's a state that plays great high school football, and I think there's more to be tapped into there, to be honest with you, and so we're excited to do that.
What were you looking for at quarterback, and with AJ and Drew, what role within the team or program do you envision them having as freshmen?
Well, AJ's gonna be with us here in 22 days, so he's gonna have a chance to kind of learn on the run here early going. We want playmakers. We want players with confidence. We feel like we have that on our roster, and we want to continue to build into that. And both these guys are proven winners. Both of them are confident players. They're playmakers, and they're both going to come in to compete. And I think that's the one aspect that is the common thread there. I mean, everyone's a little different, but both Drew and AJ are hyper competitive and prideful, and have a incredible belief in their ability to have impact. And so that's not just going to help us on the field, that's going to help us in the locker room too. And when you bring guys with that mindset into the program, and you give the strong nucleus of team that exists here already, you just strengthen the operation through and through. You allow for those leaders to be great leaders because they're leading guys that have a ton of self-pride and self-confidence. So they'll both have a shot, they'll both compete, and they both know that. They're excited to do it, and we're very proud to add them to the family today.
You landed Grayson Morgan and Langston Patterson. You landed Langston early. I think he was your first commit. How big was it to get two kids in your backyard that those schools wanted, and particularly with the timing of Langston's commitment, getting him early and having him have a chance to maybe help you guys out? Just speak to the significance of all that, please.
When I took this job, in my heart, I want this to be a program for Middle Tennessee kids. I want, there's so many good high school programs here right in our backyard, and there's no reason for them to go anywhere else. There's just really not. We have to build this program to that point, and that's about strengthening our community. That's about getting the word out and connecting with Nashville. But for both Grayson and Langston, I think that's a great starting point for us. Both come from great programs. I would say that Grayson's program is a little better, but I think there's a coach at CPA that might get upset with me about that. This needs to be a place where Nashville's best come to play, and they come to play for their city. And, you know, Langston being the first in the class was meaningful. You know, here's a guy who, you know, has spent more time over here than, you know, than really anybody, almost as much as we do as coaches. He's around all the time. He's already got a vision for himself, you know, about what this is going to look like as he gets here full time. You know, he hasn't wavered for a second. You know, he comes from a great family, and you know, they're Vanderbilt people. They believe in what we're building here and believe in the power of this university and this football program. With Grayson, we were able to kind of battle it out with competitors, both in conference and beyond. And you know, ultimately he understands that this is the right place for him. He believed it. He saw the vision. And you know, again, it's so important for us to find those guys in our backyard, and make it really hard for them to go anywhere else. And that's a point of personal pride for me, because you know, I am of this city, and I know what first of all, I know the level of football played here, and I know what this university can be from a standpoint of an opportunity for a Nashville kid to do great things. And for those that are out there, you know, you get to come and play in front of your city for a college career in the SEC. I don't know that it gets better than that. So we're excited for both those kids, and excited to continue to expand our efforts here locally to build, you know, build classes that have fingerprints of Nashville football and Nashville high school within them.
Do you have a range of numbers in terms of what you can take in terms of transfers? And if so, what would that be? Also, what particular areas are you targeting? What positions of need do you think you can really help yourself in the transfer market with?
So those numbers are obviously a little bit fluid. That's just, you know, I think, you know, the world that we inhabit now, and that is what it is. You know, what we can do now that we have really the bulk of our class signed is we can shift attention and be very specific about the areas of impact. And you know, some of that is going to be determined by you know, any lingering decisions around, you know, the NFL draft, or you know, things that might pull players away. You know, we'll look to make sure that we have effort to create depth and accentuate depth where we need to. Some of it's just about adding talented players, you know, honestly, and we're not afraid of doing that either. So we have, you know, we have some of those conversations ongoing. We have traction, we feel like, in some of those areas already, and in January is going to be about a shift of focus to really pinpoint the last few additions to the class. And you know, Chris, without maybe going too far into specifics, I'd just say, you know, we're already on the way there, and you know, this is going to be about closing in February, so we're excited about that. Some of it's to be announced too, and that'll come out as guys make decisions. So you know, we're in a good position there, but certainly we'll be looking to pinpoint, now that we have the bulk of our class in, we'll be looking to pinpoint our targets to make sure that we're putting the most competitive product on the field next fall.
Anything else? Anything on the Zoom? All right, thank you, everybody.
Hey, thanks so